Welcome to the King's Table, brought to you by the Basketball Fix. I'm your host, SJ from Love of the Game. And to keep you up to date with everything Sydney Kings, I got one of the Sydney Kings super fans, Eden Vella, on the show. So for now, kick back, relax, and enjoy the...
Do it like the king do, king do. Homie, ain't nobody king you, king you. Simmer down, boy, and get your hands off the ground, boy.
Now, I'm here with Eden Vella from the Sydney Kings. I know you're a big fan of the Sydney Kings. You want to talk to us about your love for the Sydney Kings and how it kind of all started?
Sure. My parents, like in the 90s, like a lot of kids, Michael Jordan was huge at the time. And my parents were like, oh, like much like, we'll get into it, like where I refound my love of the game. They were like, we can see basketball here. Let's go. So I started, we started going to games in the city. Big Dean Utah, was my favorite off the bat. Bruce Bolden when he played for the Kings, Leon Trimmingham, all those like old school classic guys who are much beloved to the long-standing fans. They were my favorites as a kid growing up. And flash forward to like my sister-in-law had a pair of twins, and we were watching it on TV, and they're like, "Oh, we want to see that." Did the same thing. So now there's 3 generations of us, 4 years on, who all go to the Kings together. There's 9 in total that we roll in and get real loud. It's good. It's good fun.
And on that note, like how great is it that you can actually enjoy the Sydney Kings game with 3 generations and just talk basketball, hoops? And I'm guessing you were there when they won the title. How was that experience?
Yeah, man. Like I was like, it's funny. Like in reflecting, that was such an amazing night. The seeing fans from like the Kings fans weren't leaving. Seeing New Zealand fans leave the arena before the end of the game. Like, come on, man! Like it wasn't that far. Like it wasn't like we were smashing them, right? Like they were just like beaten down, and like, but they left their loss. Amazing vibes in the thing. We stayed right until the very end. Like such a good celebration. Sad that Chase Buford didn't come back, and we don't have to talk about the year after that. But man, like such an awesome feeling to be in the stadium for that moment.
Well, you guys were doing the nah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
As soon as someone fouls out, it's like, bye, see you later.
Yeah. Especially when the fans start leaving early. Now, look, before we talk about the Sydney Kings NBL 2026 season, let's talk about 2025. It was a bit of a disappointing season. The team finished in 5th. Got bounced out by the Adelaide 36ers. What did you make of the season? Because I have a lot of interesting sort of views and opinions on that season. But from you, what did you get out of it?
Look, we showed flashes of being like really good. We were probably the most consistent 4th quarter team. I think it's pretty hard to argue, but that the problem was you got to be present for the whole game. I think the loss of JG and Kelly Leopepe really hurt us a lot. Without this year, we got a big man. Kelly we really leaned on him hard last season, and he really balled out until the injury. I think that hurt. Cam Oliver, I think everyone had a lot bigger expectations of what his impact would be off the bat. He started showing more flashes the longer the season went on, but by that stage we were already starting to be middle of the pack, looking at playing spots as opposed to looking at safe spots. I'd like to I don't know if you've been following Cam Oliver, and we'll talk about him in a little bit, but I suspect that he's been training in Cairns Taipans pants. It'd be pretty amazing to see him back in the league if he comes back. That'd be huge. Keep an eye on his Instagram.
Yeah, 100%. Because Cam Oliver is the Cairns Taipans. That season with him and Machado kind of brought me back to fall in love with the NBL in a way, because they were just highlight machines. But look, for me, I agree with you completely. I just feel like we got a bunch of talented players, but they weren't fitting of their roles. Like Cam Oliver came into the squad not exactly knowing. They tried to turn him into a center. And then when Kelly Luape got injured, it was just, and Jaylin Galloway with his length, we just couldn't get a rebound, man. We couldn't get a rebound. No. When the 4th quarter came, man, the team was singing and humming along. But I just felt like, it was just a bit too late and for the players to identify their roles. But this season, I feel like that's all going to change, especially with the lessons learned. But look, last season that lost the Adelaide 36ers.
That was tough. I was sitting behind the bench, for Adelaide 36ers, and to see how hyped they were getting is like we were starting to get us on the ropes. It was tough, and I was surrounded by Adelaide fans. We won upgrades to those spots, we were like in enemy territory, well and truly. They're going to be an interesting outfit this season, but I've got to say, like their loss of KD is definitely our gain.
Yeah, and look, we'll talk about that. Look, we're going to talk about the three losses, our three main losses for the Adelaide, for the Sydney Kings, and also the three gains. So we'll talk about KD in a bit. Yep. But look, let's talk about the losses. Alex Tui, drafted by the Golden State Warriors in the second round. How impressed are you by his elevation and growth last season and what you've been seeing from him in the Summer League? Because I think he just bought out. I think he had 15 points today.
Yeah, 15 points, 5 rebounds, 1 steal. His first 2 games, he sort of struggled with the NBA game. He looked fantastic. Like if you went from the NBL 23 to last year, he looked much more aggressive. I think under Gorgon, he really shined with like getting his system down. He obviously put on muscle mass in the off season, and he made some really good adjustments. I think he really balled out. The most he looked like we did last year was today's game. He started to look like he started feeling comfortable. In fact, I thought he was going to get up and do a Kelly Pepe and get in a scrap with Flip from Utah. But after that, he was like a man possessed. The second half of the game, Tui looked fantastic.
Yeah, because that's what I love about Alex Tui, because I'm not going to lie, when he first was into the starting lineup for the Sydney Kings last year, he kind of caught me a bit off guard with the talent that we had. But then you kind of saw his game develop, and he can shoot. And especially with the way the Golden State Warriors play, they reward their sort of bench players if they are doing well. You saw that with Santos. There was another guy that kind of just came out of nowhere.
Kuminga during the finals when they had injuries, he seized that opportunity and really ran with it.
Yeah, so I feel like Alex Tui is going to get a lot of opportunities there. And man, you can't sort of hate on him to kind of get that NBA experience. Now,
of course,
a man that he's going to be returning to possibly haunt the Sydney Kings, Jaylin Adams, led the club in points, 18 points per game, led the club in assists, 6 assists per game. Look, he was banged up. He had a back issue that he couldn't kind of overcome. How tough is it going to see Jaylin Adams in a Brisbane Bullets jersey this season?
That's our first game of the Blitz. Oh, I've got tickets to the Blitz, but I wanted to see Hunter and Angus, and this was pre Adams signing with Brisbane. Fully healthy Adams could be a danger to anyone in the league, and combine him with Casey Prather. I think they're going to lose I think they're going to lose their center, and Harrison, I think, is probably going to go to the Nuggets. He's balling out in that summer league. He could come back and be a real problem for us at the Blitz if he's 100% healthy and over all those issues from last year. And they'll still need someone to back him up, because we fell into that same trap last season where we had him and then didn't necessarily have somebody who would come off the bench and fill that role immediately. Yeah,
because for me, last year, as I said, Jaylin Adams was wounded. But this year, he might be a man possessed, especially the way the Sydney Kings kind of just replaced him. And any man that has a bit of redemption in his blood is a dangerous man, especially Jaylin Adams. Look, can he reach the lofty heights that he had with the Sydney Kings and be an MVP player for the Brisbane Bullets?
You know what would be wild, because they've still got an import spot. Although I think they're going to have to use it for a center now. Like if they could, unless they get JLA. They could dip into more of the Kings' homework and see if they can get. There's no way they can get Justin Simon, but Derek Walton Jr. I don't think he's got a job at the moment. He'd be an interesting pick, and it'd be a scary that would be a scary backcourt for anybody.
Yeah, especially with Jaylin Adams running the show, man. I'm not going to lie. When I saw him sign for the Brisbane Bullets, it kind of hurt me a little bit. But you know what? As long as he's still in the NBL, the NBL is growing, so I can't complain with that. Next man up is Cam Oliver. He had a rocky start, but he kind of showed his professionalism by staying true, staying the course, and then he kind of dominated late towards the season. I know he might be back in the NBL with the Cairns Taipans, but are we going to miss Cam Oliver this season?
I really liked spurts of Cam Oliver last season. I really did. And he was really, like, we met him a couple of times. He was a really nice guy. I don't know that he put the same emphasis on defensive effort. He was a highlight reel for offense. And then you'd see, like, he'd jog back and everyone else is sprinting back. And then people wondering why he got sat down. It's like, well, because that's like an intangible for Gorge. He made that pretty clear at the start of the season. If you don't put in the same effort you do on defense, you'll sit down. And a lot, like, there were Kings fans in the community, like, tearing their hair out. They're like, this guy's a human highlight reel and he's sitting on the bench. What are you doing? I think he's coming. Like, if he came back to the league, he's coming back fit. He's because he like seriously got more and more match fit throughout the season last year, and that Adam Ford, like, he just manages to get the best out of people. If he came back to the Taipans, that's a problem for everybody.
Yeah, I love Coach Adam Ford, man. He's probably one of my favorite coaches in the NBL just because, man, he can literally get, as you said, get the best out of anybody. He could literally have a bunch of 5 players on the court that's just a bunch of misfits, and, man, he'll turn them into players. And I want to see the Cairns Taipan do well. And even if they do struggle with Cam Oliver, they'll get a few highlight reels, so you can't complain with that. Now, look, we'll talk about the additions. I'm going to start off with the leader of men, Matthew Dellavedova. He was pretty much the first piece of the puzzle that got signed. And I love the signing of Matthew Dellavedova, man. 11 points per game, 7 assists for the Melbourne United in their grand final sort of season. They got defeated by the Illawarra Hawks. But the thing that I love about Delly is, as you said, he has all the intangibles that Brian Goorjian loves, the defense, the hustle. And if you see your point guard doing that, man, there's no excuse for anybody else. What do you make of Matthew Dellavedova, and is he the right man to lead this new culture for the Sydney Kings?
Absolutely. I've copped a lot of flack in the past for defending Sean Bruce. He's a culture guy through and through, and I think you have to have that person in your group. Take away the amazing defensive hustle, and his 3-point perimeter shooting. If he can get everybody firing on the same cylinder, be that spark that ignites everybody around him, that's good for our squad.
Yeah. Sorry, yeah, because I was big on that, especially with the whole Sean Bruce thing. Is like, you can't have your best defender, your leader, playing off the bench and only playing like spot up minutes, if that makes sense. Like, you need your leader to play 30 minutes a game. And I think Matthew Dellavedova is also going to bring the best out of our next player that we're going to talk about, Kendrick Davis. Now, you saw live firsthand what Kendrick Davis did, averaging 26 points per game, 8 assists, 48% from the field. And this man can bring the best out of anybody. I know he was teammates with Kwat Noy also at TCU. Man, how great is it that we got Kendrick Davis?
I was the most floored by that. I suspected we'd be going into summer league looking for an ex-NBA guy. Lance Stapleton was looking for a gig too. He was down here last season. And I was like, oh, maybe we might end up with a guy who's like in his early 30s, just coming out of the NBA from like a bench player. He was so exciting. Every time I saw Adelaide play last year live, KD is electric and has an unbelievable motor on him. He will be like lightning for our squad. And the way we like to play, which is fast and like and agile, that dude's perfect for our squad. And even when you've got obviously my expectation for the starting lineup is to be Delly and KD in the back. But when you switch in JG or you start switching in Malawatch and these other guys, the options that we have are just ridiculous now.
Yeah, I feel like for the Sydney Kings, man, they need one of these guys on the court at all times to run the show.
Agreed.
And honestly, man, when I first saw Kendrick Davis play for Adelaide 36ers, I was like, yo, who's this little guy, man? Like, all right, let's see what he's got. But, hey, man, he turned into my favorite player. After the first game, I actually DM'd him, and I was like, hey, man, because I'm a Bryce Cotton fan. So when I saw Kendrick Davis, I was like, man, this is the next Bryce Cotton for the NBL. And now that he's at the Sydney Kings, I can't wait to hit him up one day and get him on the Kings table.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah, look, with the Sydney Kings, man, is that the best backcourt in the NBL, or who do you have above him?
I don't think you can put anybody above them. I thought Amari Moore for Southeast Melbourne Phoenix was a really interesting prospect. I saw him start playing in the summer league, and then he was immediately bought out by someone from the Euro League. Adelaide is the only other team that has their complete back line, but I think they're going to struggle because before the start of this season, it was meant to be built. The team was meant to be built around Humphreys and DJ. You bring in Montrez back; he has a big personality, and Bryce Cotton's going to expect to be the centerpiece, like Perth did. Offense ran through Bryce. I suspect that Mike Wells is going to need a psych degree this season to get everybody working together.
Yeah, because that's what someone told me about the Adelaide 36ers. I was like, man, they're pretty much almost running a back with their same team, but they're just replacing Kendrick Davis with Bryce Cotton. Kendrick Davis is a better playmaker, where Bryce Cotton maybe is a better shot maker, if you could say that in a way too. But I just feel like, yeah, the hype around the Adelaide 36ers is, you know what, they might be the team that just defeats themselves as they did last season because they had a talented bunch of players, man. They were probably my most excited team to watch. Like, if I saw the Sydney Kings and Adelaide 36ers playing at the same time, but I might be swimming to the Adelaide 36ers game every now and then. I'm not going to lie about that.
The crazy thing about Adelaide was because it was so turbulent last season, you didn't know who was going to show up. And so if you got them on the wrong night, you're in for an awful time. But if they were off, if something in the chemistry behind the scenes was off, they were very bootable. The only thing that they're probably going to really struggle with this season is defense. But if they will try and just grind out teams by putting 110 points on you or something like that. Like they're going to be the highest scoring team I think this season.
Yeah, agreed. And look, our next signing, Tim Suarez, back for the Sydney Kings. NBL champion with the Sydney Kings. How excited were you when you kind of saw Tim Suarez returning for the Sydney Kings this season?
Before he signed, I started seeing photos of Geordie Hunter, like at the Kings run. I'm like, ooh, we're getting a big man. This is good, right? I'm looking for. I've been watching Spurge in the NBL 1, but we need someone with some experience to guide those guys. Obviously, they got Bogut coming in, and we'll talk about him later. But we need someone with some experience, preferably championship experience, which Geordie has. To have Tim Suarez coming back in, hell yeah! Like being able to have someone who can take control of the rebounds, spread the floor, perfect pickup. I know I saw some people in the community kind of like trashing it, like, you know what though? When he was here, he was like 24 years old, prime for a big as like mid to late 20s. Like he's gone away. He's been playing in the Japanese B League. He's probably put on some mass. He's definitely probably worked out against some pretty high level talent. I look forward to seeing what he can do.
Yeah, because I was one of those players, one of those persons that was like, you know what, man, I was hoping Sydney Kings were going to get a big name at center. But then when you actually think about their team, they don't really need a superstar center, if that makes sense. The talent is all around them. They just need a center to kind of grab some boards, play some great defense, and be that sort of culture guy for the Sydney Kings. And, man, he understands what the Sydney Kings are all about. He knows what the fans are all about, and he's won a title before, so let's hope he can do it again. And
to your point, would bringing in a high-profile import center potentially have introduced that, like, too many cooks, like more ego? Like if you're now dealing with another person who's expecting to get a lot of ball, and it could potentially end up being like the Adelaide last season situation where you've got all of these guys who are like demanding opportunities. And I think that it's not the safe option; it's the smart option. You know, he's like you said, he's got championship pedigree, and he plays his role, does it really well. And I think he'll be a no nonsense, like grab the rebounds, get it out to the guys who are going to shoot threes, make opportunities.
Yeah, 100% agree, because what I thought about it was, you know what, if we ran it back with the same squad last year, but we replaced KD with Jaylin Adams, all we needed was a center that could just grab some boards, man.
Yeah.
There was that game against the Brisbane Bullets, man. I swear to God, every time the Bullets shot the ball, Harrison or someone would just grab the board. I'm like, bro, I can't do this. And we still managed to win the game. Yep. I don't know how, but we still won the game. And now look, the last addition to the piece, Andrew Bogut. How big is Andrew Bogut going to be for the Sydney Kings this year?
I think this is the succession plan. Like the more I look at it, I don't know if you watched the Lane Violation documentary. I think that because famously, when Bogut retired, Gorge offered him an assistant coaching role with the Boomers, and he declined it. He said no, he wants to like refine his love for the sport, that kind of stuff. I love the idea that like they've got 2 more years of Gorgon, and you basically have Andrew Bogut working as an apprentice, and then when Gorgon steps back and he leaves the Kings, like the logical successor is already there, part of the team, knows how the culture works, really high like basketball IQ, will absolutely be able to get the most out of our 3 centers we've currently got. I think this is, and he's like everything I've seen, and like they talk about it in the lane violation podcast, like the documentary. He's just like a no bullshit kind of guy, and I think that's probably good. You know, sometimes in order to, and he would have had to have dealt with egos when he was in the NBA. Like you got to be able to cut through that, and be able to get everybody on the same page. And I think he's got the right attitude for it.
Yeah, because the reason why I love this signing is I hope that Andrew Bogut can bring a bit of that Golden State Warriors ball movement and passing from the bigs to the Sydney Kings. Because if he can do that, he just unlocks all our shooters, man, like Kwat Noy. You got Matthew Dellavedova, Kendrick Davis, who can all shoot. And for the bigs, man, just set some screens and some hard screens. That's what Bogut was known for. Give your playmakers some extra space and then just reap the rewards. If the defense pisses up, man, throw a little lob over, and we've got some. So I'm sort of fired.
I think we probably might have one of the best perimeters in the league. Like if you look at like across the board, you got 3-and-D, Bull Kowal, JG's been no slouch in the NBL one, KD, Delhi, Quat, like the list of guys who can be a problem at the perimeter is going to be tough for a lot of teams. And if you can get that big man, like getting the ball out, God damn it, you're in so much trouble.
Now, let's talk about 2 of our Sydney Kings players that have made the Boomer squad. Jaylin Galloway, returning from injury, has been absolute on a tear for the Bankstown Bruins in the NBL 1 East. And then Xavier Cooks. Now, both these men are going to be instrumental if the Sydney Kings are going to make a title chance this year in 2026. What have you made of Jaylin Galloway's return? Because I know you've been kind of keeping a close eye on him.
Yeah, look, I've seen the Bruins play out of Penrith in the NBL 1, and he switches gears, man. I know that sounds really silly, and like I'm sure that there are levels to this, and that's like one of those moments where you realize that towards the end of the game, the last game that I saw Bankstown play in Penrith, things were pretty tight. He switched, like it was almost like he switched gears and then just went on overdrive. Unbelievable, like to see, like he kind of like it just had this extra 10% that he could just produce, and it was really impressive to see him and Jason Kadee just balling out. I can't wait to see, like, we never really got to see what he learned when he was in the US. I think this season is really going to be like his breakout season. Yeah,
because as you mentioned about the whole Penrith Panthers game, I pretty much have the best seat in the house to watch Jaylin Galloway this season. I do the commentary for the Bankstown Bruins. I follow them on all their away games. And after that Penrith Panthers game, Jaylin Galloway took another level. And the reason why I say that he took another level is, man, he's been working on that 3-point shot. He's hitting 3 a game. And, man, the shot is looking crisp. I don't know if that's just playing with Jason Kadee. Maybe they're playing a bit of pressure. But, yeah, man, as you said, there's levels to it. And you can tell that Jaylin Galloway is a level above the NBL 1 East. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand, too, for Jaylin Galloway, this is his off-season. He's just getting back into rhythm. And if this is his potential, man, Sydney Kings, man, fans, look out, man. You're in for a show. I can promise you that. And now we'll talk about – sorry, yep.
He was so exciting in that championship season. Under Mahmoud Abdel Fattah, we saw Malawatch have like moments where he would just go out and take over. There were moments during that championship season where JG was that guy too. Like he'd come off the bench and just be a firecracker. I expect to see lots of that this season.
Man, Jaylin Galloway's only 22 years old also, man. It's crazy.
We're talking about him like he's been here forever. It's true. I remember that. He was like 20 years old or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. He's already got NBA experience, and man, I can't wait to see his growth this season. I'm I'm actually hoping that I can get Jaylin Galloway on the show next week for the next King's Table episode. I've talked to him. He might be interested, so tune in for that. Now, Xavier Cooks is another key piece. What are you expecting from Xavier Cooks this season?
Look, I think he's going to have to come out and prove a lot of naysayers wrong, particularly after the indiscretions at the end of last season. He's going to have to come out like a man possessed. I expect him to. Like he always puts in like a consistent amount of effort, but I think given the additional level of scrutiny that he's going to be under after the end of like bowing out of last season, I expect him to be like at his best. He's been working out in the US with KD and Delhi. Gorgeous over there. They've been working out before that with like it's pretty unique. Like they were saying that like most of the other teams don't have everybody assembled in their location, including their coaching. So Bogut, Gorge, what's his name? No, I'm thinking of the coaching staff. Billy Tomlinson. All of our guys are all in Sydney, and they're all working out like most of our guys. It'd be fantastic to see like what a few months off and a reignited fire, because people will be. I'm sure that he'll be getting some criticism like on social media. He's gonna have to block all that out and just get on the court and just like show what he can do.
Yeah, because you're right about the whole Sydney Kings, man. They've started early because I know Sean Rogers is there at the Sharks. He's playing with Quite Noy, Jason Spurgeon, and they do their Kings run, and you see Xavier Cooks and all these players kind of show up. Yeah. But for me, honestly, with Xavier Cooks, I want him to start owning it, man. Like he is the best player in the NBL when he wants to be. Man, if they leave you open, shoot the shit out of that ball. Whether you make it or miss it, I don't care. But strut your stuff like you are the best player in the NBL and lead this team, because the team needs Xavier Cooks to play with a bit of aggression, play angry, because for me, he is the NBL version of Giannis Antetokounmpo, if that makes sense. Honest to God, if Xavier Cooks can take that leap up with Kendrick Davis, with Matthew Dellavedova, with Tim Suarez, Jaylin Galloway, Bull Qual, Malawach, Quite Noy, man, the Sydney Kings have the best roster in the NBL 1. No questions about it.
I couldn't believe how hard I cheered when I saw him hit his first three last season, because he's not known as a perimeter guy, right? And so people like left him alone, and he just like swallowed up, planted his feet, bang. I'm like, where's this part of his game? Yeah, damn.
And that's the thing, man. Like, I honestly don't care if he shoots at 20%, 25%, but like, just don't be afraid to shoot. Like, if they're disrespecting you, let them think that they're going to shoot, because then he opens up so much space. Like, man, I saw so many players sag off him and leave him, and Xavier Cook stood there like, man, I know I should shoot this, but I'm going to pass it off or I'm going to do something else. It's like, nah, man. And I love that Quite Noy. I had Quite Noy on the show for the first episode of King's Table this season. And he said, man, I saw Xavier Cooks hit 7 threes in a row. So, man, I'm all for that, man. Let's keep that up. Let's keep that sort of attitude up that, you know what, I'm gonna hit him regardless.
It'd be unreal to be in the gym too, because you're surrounded by other guys who are perimeter shooters. And there would be a level of competition just inside the camp, just to try and elevate that, regardless of whether or not you're playing against players outside of your own team. So I expect to see more shooting from Xavier Cooks this season. We saw it a few times last season, and it was like lots of people were like, "What the hell?" Man, prove more people wrong, like you said. Like surprise people. Make people hurt for ignoring you on the outside.
100%. Now, look, we're going to talk about our 3 Kings players that we're most excited about. I'll let you go first. We'll just go one each. And, I'll let you start us off.
All right. So probably my first one is Keller Leopepe. I was really excited about how he started last season. He is, for all intents and purposes, not your, prototypical basketball player. Like
he's an enforcer.
Like he's big and thick. And then when you start seeing early interviews with him, he's like, "Oh, model my game after Charles Barkley from the 90s. I like to get in amongst and get a bit, and it kind of gets a bit scrappy." Man, in love with his game from day dot, from the blitz. When he stood there and held his own after Sean Bruce got headbutted by by New Zealand, and he stood there and stood them down. This guy's going to be awesome to watch this season. Seeing him averaging 32 on the weekend, in 2 games for Knox, He's coming back. If he comes back like a man possessed, we have. If you want to run small ball and you want to play, or you want to move him to the 4 and have Tim Soares and like really try and push big, if someone like Adelaide try and like put some muscle on us, man, we have such a nasty like front court now. So many options. Kelly's going to be a big piece for us this season.
Yeah, because Kelly opens up so much more doors, man. Because you could play him at the 5, JG at the 4, Quite Noy at the 4, sort of thing. Yeah. And with that, personally, he's also averaging 9 rebounds for the season. He's shooting that 3 ball also at about 34%. So yeah, I love me some Kelly Luape. And when he went down last season, that's when I kind of was like, our season's done. Like, we ain't going to compete with any of the leagues in the NBL. My first player that I'm going to lock in as my most intrigued is Kendrick Davis. Last season, he took the NBL by storm. And low-key, man, there was no chance in hell I thought we were going to get him. I didn't think we were going to replace Jalen Adams with Kendrick Davis. But you know what? I'm all for it because it just unlocks so much more doors. And look, Jalen Adams maybe needed that change of scenery because he wasn't putting that extra 1%ers. And Kendrick Davis is trying to get into the NBA. So he's going to put 100% in. And shout out to Matthew Dellavedova for selling him the dream for the NBA and coming to the Sydney Kings. Yes. But also speaking to Quite Noy, man, he was the one that kind of started the whole Kendrick Davis and Sydney Kings with that conversation. So Quite Noy, he is the Kings table royalty. So shout out for that because, man, watching Kendrick Davis ball is an absolute pleasure. And he can be an MVP candidate. Lock it in.
Oh, he only just missed out against Bryce last season. You could absolutely make the argument for his first season that he should have been MVP with a few different games like going in Adelaide's favor. He would have been first season in the game MVP for sure. This season with the right team around him and with with the right support structure, Delhi with the veteran presence on the court, I don't think there's anything but like the highest ceilings for KD.
Do you reckon Delhi just gives Kendrick Davis the keys to the ship, or is it kind of going to be a bit of a 50-50, 60-40 KD's way?
I think it depends on the matchup. It would depend game to game. Like if we're up against a more grindy team, I think Delhi kind of takes over. Someone like Tasmania who slows things down. I'll give a chop to Birdo, who I used to do a podcast with from the Tasmanian podcast.
Hello. Love you, Birdo. Love you.
But they like to kind of slow things down and kind of grind games out, particularly at home. And I think that's where Delhi kind of goes, I got this one. I mean, when you get out and running and you want to try and really push the pace, I think that's someone like against Melbourne. I think that's where KD's get in the back seat. We got this. We're going at 100%.
Look, you actually gave me an idea. When we verse the Tasmania Jack Shoppers, we'll set up a show, the King's Table, up against the Tasmania Takeover boys over there.
We'll give them heaps.
Yeah. All right, who's your second player?
JG. We already talked about him before. I think I was so hyped. I went and got a subscription so I could watch the G League when he went across to got signed by Milwaukee, so I could keep some of the Kings fans up to date. And I wanted to follow him, right? He's a really exciting player. I think he's set for like I said before. I think he's set for his breakout season. This is going to be one where he can showcase to the world that he's back, 100% healthy. I expect him to probably be back in the summer league next summer. And I reckon that this is JG's year, if I'm honest. Last year was quite noisy, definitely. I think this season is JG's opportunity to be the next up for 6 man of the year.
Yeah, because the thing that I love about JG is watching his game develop. That athleticism, that raw athleticism is still there. And the only thing that he's missing is a 3-point shot. And man, he's been working on it. You can see that with the with the Bankstown Brewers. He's working on that 3 ball. As I said, hitting 3 a game is perfect at 34%. He's coming from 6 months off. So if he's shooting at 34% now, man, if he can push that up to about 38, 39%, hey, NBA, get ready for Jaylin Galloway.
Absolutely. Round 2, man. He earned his spot in Milwaukee. It was when he came back to Sydney, I was hyped. There was a few posted dunks that I posted in the community. I'm he's summer league. He'll go back with some more maturity. You know, like he'll have more times playing against like pros. I think that's really probably the one thing that that Tui probably got caught off guard by is like the step up in athleticism in the US. And you know, once again, the college guys are up against because they're playing against other college players. These guys have been playing against men. By the time JG goes back next year, it'll be for like almost 4 or 5 years. Like to be able to put that up like on the floor, piece it all together. Yeah, he'll be a pest for anyone.
Yeah, especially with
Very
a bit of
hard to
experience too, and that extra little motivation to like redeem himself. He's going to be a dangerous man. And talking about redemption, my second player is Bull Qual. Look, he took the Olympics by storm for South Sudan, especially that game against America, matching up against KD.
I was going to say, he surprised KD a bit.
Yeah, and then in the NBL, he was battling a bit of injuries, and he per se, man, he had probably his most disappointing NBL season to date. So look for him to bounce back because what you get from him in the defensive end, you can't get from any other player in the NBL.
Nah.
So if you get him doing that, shooting his threes, playing off Delhi, playing off KD, as I said, KD and Kendrick Davis, that's 15 assists per game from those two players. Quite Noi, Bull Qual, JG, man, they're licking their lips waiting to get back into action. And the only thing I have to say is, you know what, Bull Qual, if you are going to play about 25, 20 minutes a game, use your fouls wisely, please. Don't stack them all up in one hit and then start sitting on the bench for the rest of the game because, hey, team needs you, man. Team needs you.
I'm going to say last season we probably never saw the best of Bull Qual. I believe he was carrying an injury like a niggling injury for most of the season. But to see him, even though he wasn't as key on offense as like the community would have liked, watching him do like he was able to shut down dudes like Bryce Cotton and make them have a really bad night. I don't think anybody hits necessarily like that on defense with that kind of tough opposition. Man, he's elite.
Yeah, not even close. So watch Bull Qual bounce back season. Who's your third and final player?
McQuatch Malawatch. I really like him. He was kind of like the guy who was relegated to the bench during the Mahmoud Abdel Fattah season. We got him from Melbourne. We like everyone kind of like, who is this guy? Like he never got any minutes. The first time he gets an opportunity to get on the court, he explodes off the bench, and we're all like, why has this guy been playing all season? You're like, where's this guy's minutes? I think he has that in his tank, and he's absolutely the embodiment of next man up mentality. He just needs an opportunity. I think like if we see him get some increased minutes, because we've got two primary ball carriers now, so they got some flexibility to throw guys more minutes. I think we'll see huge uptake in stock points for Malawatch by the end of this season. And he's a super nice guy. Like to meet him, same as Bull Qual. I got to say we call him my family. We call him the South Sudanese trio. There's Qual, Quat, and Malawatch. All three of those guys, super nice guys, do really good stuff in the community. And yeah, I'd really like to see Malawatch get his flowers and like have like that post a dunk on someone, or steal the ball from strip the ball from Bryce Cotton or something like that. Do something that'll get him like noticed on a highlight reel because he deserves it. Yeah,
because he does all those little 1%ers, man. So I can't wait to watch that South Sudanese trio. I was going to sort of have my third player was between Quat Noi and Xavier Cooks. Quite annoyed because he is Kings royalty, so I just got to give him a shout out because for me, he brings the culture to the Sydney Kings, exactly what they're trying to do. And man, he brought Kendrick Davis here, reigning sixth man of the year. So shout out Quite annoyed, but look, you can't look past Xavier Cooks because for the Sydney Kings to be that dominant force that they were expected to be last season, they need Xavier Cooks at his prime. I think we talked about it earlier when I was like, man, Xavier Cooks has to start owning it. Like you mentioned that, you know what, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on him. So he's pretty much, excuse my language, I hope I can say this, but you can just say effort sort of thing. Where he goes, you know what, I did let the boys down last year. I'm going to make it up by doing my action on the court. I'm going to show the Kings fan because, man, like I posted a few things about Xavier Cooks, man, and the language that he was copying his way, man, was just a big thing. Like,
it's
honestly,
awful.
As a man, we've all made mistakes. Like, no one's perfect. Like, shit. Like, some of you guys have done the same shit, just never got busted for it. You know what I mean? And I'm not condoning what he's done because, man, like the level that he's at, he shouldn't be risking stuff like that. But he's back. So Xavier Cooks, man, I can't wait to see this season that he's in store for Xavier Cooks. So, yeah, he's my man to watch out for, my X factor.
Yeah, my niece Violet absolutely adores Xavier Cooks. That's her favorite character, her favorite player. I think Cooks is going to have a big season. I think he has to try and block out the noise on social media. It'd probably be a good idea if he tries to avoid it as much as possible. Like you said, lots of people make lots of mistakes. It wasn't a performance-enhancing drug. Like, if we talk about the indiscretion itself, if he'd been popped for taking D-bol or some sort of other anabolic steroid, or something along those lines, I suspect that we'd probably be having a very different conversation. And that would follow him for the rest of his career. I think that guy made a mistake. He's owned it. Sure, some people are probably going to give him some additional flack, but if he can put his head down and just ball out, like that's what's going to silence those people. The fans will make more noise than the people who are writing hate.
Yeah, and look, the only reason why I brought it up is, man, because we have to bring it up because it did happen last year, and we're not going to bring it up on the show every single time because you know what, it was just a part of life sort of thing. But I just want to ask you because look, I got 5 love of the game questions that I want to ask you, and one of my questions was actually, have the fans, because you're part of the fan group, have the fans kind of forgiven Xavier Cooks for what happened last year?
Look, there's a small portion of people who are still kind of like critical of it. And look, I get it. He did the wrong thing. A lot of people are basically looking at it like, dude, you made a mistake. You've owned up to it. You've served your suspension. Let's ball out. Let's see you come out this season. I think that's the vast majority of people. They're like, look, he suffered his penance, and let's put it behind you and let's get going for NBL 26.
Yeah, because I'm big on that, man. Like, I literally say, you know what, like no one's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, but it's how you bounce back from it. Are you a better man from it? Can you do better for the community? Can you make sure that, you know what, next time you're in that scenario, you can say, you know what, no. And then you actually bring other people away from it too. That's when you know that you've learned your lesson. So fingers crossed that is. Now, my question number 2.
Yes.
With the Illawarra Hawks winning the title, does that sting a little more?
Look, I think I'll try and be as pragmatic as I can because look, the Hawks have long been our like highway rivals. I enjoyed seeing them win. I thought they earned it. And it was really good to see Justin Tatum win Coach of the Year. I thought given the way he turned that season around from Jacobus the previous season, I think he should have gotten that was almost a Cinderella story that they were on. That probably should have earned him Coach of the Year against Vickerman. I really like what he did last year. I can't fault it. We're going to do better this season. It'll be really good on Christmas Day to send them back to Wollongong with a sour look on their face.
Yeah, because I'm exactly like you, man. Like I enjoyed the Illawarra Hawks winning it. 24 years is a long time between drinks, and I'm a big Dave O'Hickey fan. So shout out Dave O'Hickey, Finals MVP, kind of took that by storm. Absolutely.
We met him outside the arena. Funny story, my brother-in-law, who's not as into it as like the rest of us, goes to my niece and goes, oh, look, it's a Sydney Kings player. He was blazoned in Illawarra Hawk stuff head to toe. I was like, I gave him the tab, and I'm like, that's Dave O'Hickey. He plays for the Illawarra Hawks. He goes, I don't know. I was like, and like, we're like, dude, he's covered. He's like literally like hat, jacket, pants, like everything, backpack, like all blazoned with Illawarra Hawks. I'm like, man, you need to learn the players on our team. God damn
it. Question number 3. Who has been your favorite Sydney Kings player to watch? All time.
That's all time? Probably Big Dean Uthoff. I have a real soft spot for him because he was like the first guy that like attracted me to the game. Modern era, oof. I don't know what like Xavier Cooks. I love his game, and I was a bit bummed when he left the team. Great, I was really happy when he came back. I'm gonna say like I was bummed when he left. Angus Glover used to be that guy who like Chase Buford could tap on the shoulder and be like, "Hey, I need you to go get us a bucket." Like in the grand final, in the final series, you got a busted rib. Can you go get us a bucket? Yeah, I can go get your bucket. Love Angus. And in the current team, probably JG actually, if I'm honest. Yeah, it's hard to lock down one, but Dean Uthoff is a special place in my heart.
For me, I'm going to lock in Kouat. As I said, he's Sydney Kings table royalty. He kind of gave me my first opportunity. He's always putting me on the NBL 1 East, always giving me the time and day to kind of have a chat. He said he was going to give me a Kouat jersey too, so still waiting for that.
Hold him to that.
Right. Question number 4, your favorite Sydney Kings memory to date?
Probably the grand final, actually. That was a really special place to be. That and the first game I attended with my nieces. I know it sounds like kind of cliche, but they were the spark that really got me back in, like right into the sport, going like live, as many games as we possibly can. So those 2 are my highlights. What about yours?
Oh, beautiful. My highlight would probably be the title one. Look, I'm pretty new to the NBL scene, pretty much been about like 5-6 years to it. I was big on the NBA, but then I'm not going to lie, like whenever I saw the NBL, it was always like there wasn't that many athleticism. It was just people just sort of shooting jumpers and stuff like that. And then once LaMelo came to the game, he kind of just brought in the new influx of players. And that's when he kind of caught my eye. And then I started doing Love of the Game, sort of covering Sydney basketball. And then, kind of started falling in love with the Sydney Kings from there. As I said, I'm new. I'm looking forward to creating so many more memories with the Sydney Kings. I actually have my NBL media accreditation too, so I'll be backstage talking to the players, talking to the fans. I've got a few segments in store for fan questions and stuff like that. So if you are a Sydney Kings fan, if you see me around, make sure you say hi. And if you want to jump on the show, ask a few questions, man. Let's build this up to make sure that, you know what, the fans are heard too from the Sydney Kings. Now, my question number 5. Yes. Who is your starting 5 for this season if you were the coach?
I'm going to go Tim Suarez because for championship experience, and I think that gets Xavier Cooks immediately because doing the tip-off, I think that kind of like ruined, like I shouldn't say ruins, but it negates his athleticism. Like if you get the ball to him off the bat, he like KD have a high motor, and he's going to get it up the court as fast as he can. I've got Delhi, Bulkwall. I know it's going to be like the most safe. I could even move, like there would be times I could even move Kouat to like swap.
No, sorry, Eden. You don't have all these options and stuff like that. Lock in your starting.
All right. Suarez, Cooks, Bulkwall. It's going to be the most safe one ever. Delhi and KD.
Yeah, I pretty much had the same thing, but I had JG as the 3.
Okay.
Just for the fact that, you know what, off the bench, get the South Sudanese trio, let them board together, man. Let them have some fun. Yeah, let them have some fun, man. Have KD running the point, have Delhi running the point every now and then. Play Kelly at the 5. Holy shit, man! What a second unit.
I like that idea. And if you really like, get the South Sudanese trio with KD, and then alternating between. I'd even like to see Spurgeon at the 5. He's been balling out in NBL 1 East. Like him and Kouat have had some really good games together. I'd like to see that at least if we've got games we're comfortably winning, I'd like to see him get some like fourth quarter minutes and start getting him getting some reps.
Yeah, 100%. Like the only reason why I'm a bit hesitant on the whole Jason Spurgeon is I don't know if the coaching staff really do trust him, because last year, man, we were struggling for a big. And they wouldn't play him. They literally played him about like 3-4 minutes, and then he wouldn't play again, sort of thing. So I feel like he needs to earn that trust. And as you said, get those spot-up minutes and then own it. So then he can kind of play. And then, as you know, it's a long season, bro. Injuries are going to happen. So then Jason Spurgeon kind of kick in. But for me, I'm very big on every player understands their role. I don't want to be a team that plays 14 players like, bro, give me 10, 11 at best. Let everyone understand their role. It's a long season. Injuries are going to come. Then people can kind of jump in. Because I feel like last year, that's where we missed the beat. Playing about 13, 14, everyone playing 10, 12 minutes. No one can build chemistry like that, man. You can't get into the game flow like that. So I'm very big on that. So, yeah, that's my starting 5, man. Let the South Sudanese trio do their thing. Let's go.
Be fun. I like that. That's fun. That's really fun. Yeah, let's do that. Right.
Now, to end the show, we're going to have our real talk segment. Nothing off the table here. I can ask you 2 questions. You can ask me 2 questions, whatever it is. Yes. I'll start off first. My first question is, how do you feel about the Illawarra Hawks? Are they out? Because they've been little brother for so long.
Yes.
Are they almost big brother? Because they've been whooping our asses, man.
Since Jacob Jacomas left, it's wild, man. That's almost like it's same squad, almost a completely different team. Like if you looked at their output under Jacomas, we were smashing them. We were like it's almost like eye watering to think about the fact that with the exception of Gary Clark, they rolled back that same squad, and next thing you know, they're world beaters. You know, it's amazing to see what the influence of Tatum did to that squad. I'm more worried about Adelaide this year, if I'm honest. At this point in time, given that KD came to us, and there might be some hostility there, and there's some amazing rivalry between KD and Bryce Cotton. That's gonna be fun. It'd be really fun to see that. And we're always gonna ball out against Illawarra, but yeah, I suspect that that for us, it's gonna be that KD Bryce Cotton. First time we hit the court against Adelaide, and potentially the Bullets now that Adams is up there. There's some scary people waiting in the wings to get a piece of the Kings.
Yeah, so because for me, the Hawks hangout boys, man, they keep roasting me about the Kings record against the Hawks. So
that's true.
They're my rivals, man. I don't care. No one else with the Hawks, man. We've got to win that series.
Man, if we can win Christmas, I'll go home a happy man. Let's put it like that.
Good. All right, what's your first question for me?
Who do you think is set to have their breakout season this year? I think we talked about Quat before, and I think that was his big breakout, like 6th man of the year. Who's set to do that this year for the Kings?
Oh man, look, this is going to be a bit close to the heart, but I'm going to have to say Jaylin Galloway because, as I said, I've been watching him ball up for the Bankstown Bruins. I pretty much have the best seat in the house to watch his game develop, improve on that jump shot. That was the key for me. If he can improve that jump shot, and man, I was honestly amazed that he's still 22, but I thought he was at least 24, 25. But bro, the young fella's 22 years old, man. So I'm going to have to lock in Jaylin Galloway, and a chance at the NBA is just around the corner for him if he can work on that. If he can get 38, 39% from three, don't expect Jaylin Galloway to be in a Kings uniform for much longer, unfortunately, but that's what I'm going to say. That's
an amazing prediction, and I completely agree. I think that he was set to, I think, be that explosive guy last season until that awful accident, the awful incident ended his injury ended his season with an injury. Bring it on. JG this season is just going to be a baller, and he'll come out to try and prove a lot of people wrong with what they were thinking. People will be like, "Oh, he came back from the NBA." No. He's
22, man. 22. We've got to give that to him. All right. My question, real talk question number 2. I'm just winging this one. If you could bring one player from any NBL club to the Sydney Kings right now, who would it be?
It's going to be unpopular with other Kings fans, but I like Montrez. I do. He brings lots of eyes to the game. I think whether we like it or not, he's almost like a necessary evil. The amount of people who came out to see him play live was huge. And his interactions with the kids, because he would halftime, he'd change his shoes, giving shoes out to the kids, all that kind of stuff's great for the league.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wouldn't mind some Montrez.
He's almost face to face. He was almost unstoppable last season when he was on the court, under the rim. Forget about it.
Yeah, but then you get all the extras with him too, man. So it's a bit of a catch-22. Actually, I want to ask you one more question.
Go for it.
If you could have chosen at the start of the season to add Kendrick Davis or Bryce Cotton, who would you have preferred?
KD. I think I love what Bryce does for the league, but I think we've seen a lot of what Bryce has to offer. I'm more excited to see what KD's second professional season has to offer. I think that's for me. Bryce is an amazing player, and I really respect his game. But we've watched him develop here for some time, and it's great to be able to have kept him in the league. But no, man, season 2, KD, he's had a chance to play pro now. He's gone away. He's worked out. He's been working out with Delhi and Cooks. He'll fly here. Should be here in like a couple of weeks. I can't wait to see him at the Blitz. It's gonna be so good.
Nah, beautiful. All right, to end the show, Eden, what's your last question for me? Real Talk segment. What do you got?
There's been lots of talk about expansion in the league. I noticed that the Ignite games for the Kings are still like to be confirmed. If you were thinking about expanding the presence of the league within New South Wales, where would you host those Ignite Cup games?
Oh man, I'll go Newcastle. I'm going to say Newcastle for the reason that, you know what, they do have two NBL 1 East teams there. They got the Maitland Mustangs and the Newcastle Falcons. And I know they have a community that love basketball. And that's uncharted waters at the moment. There's a lot of talent there. I know Quite Noi is from there, so you can definitely promote it like that. Like it's a homecoming game for Quite Noi. So for me, I'd definitely say, Newcastle. But if there was an NBL team to come in to the league, I'll definitely say Canberra. Canberra deserve it, man. Man,
both of those teams, like I remember as a kid, Canberra Cannons, Newcastle Falcons. I'd love to see both of them come back. There's been some talk about a Sydney Next Stars team, and I'm like, I think they'd always kind of be like looked at as kind of like if they didn't play at Kudos and they played at like the Key Centre or something, it'd be the Western Sydney Razorbacks all over again. You know, like you need the Sydney Kings own Sydney. Yeah. As bad as it sounds, right? I'd like to see like the Falcons used to be great, and there'd be much more rivalries too. Then you've got Newcastle, Illawarra, Canberra, Sydney, all these like fatal four-way. You know, like the use of wrestling terms. There could be some amazing rivalries between those teams.
Yeah, and a lot of people, especially in the whole NBL 1 East, they say, you know what, Maitland have the rowdiest crowd too. So let's bring it into the NBL, man. Love a bit of crowd sort of noise.
And the Newcastle Entertainment Centre is a really nice venue, so you could definitely do it there.
Nah, beautiful, man. Look, I just want to say thank you for joining on the show. This is the first of many, hopefully in the coming season, as the Sydney Kings chase that title. How was the show, man? You enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. Sorry, I'm a little bit tired, but yeah, it was fantastic.
No, beautiful.
Really looking forward to chatting to you again.
Yeah, until next time, SJ from Love of the Game, Eden Vella, Sydney Kings super fan. Take care and God bless.
Thanks, guys.
They don't do it like the king do. King do. Homie, ain't nobody king you. King you. Simmer down, boy. And get your hands off the